President Akufo-Addo, in his address on the economy, says government is diversifying the structure of the Ghanaian economy from an import-based one to a value-added exporting one. A move, he says, will strengthen the economy. Let's hear him.
Fellow Ghanaians, the success of our efforts at diversifying the structure of the Ghanaian economy from an import-based one to a value-added exporting one is what will, in the long term, help strengthen our economy. We're making some progress with the 1D, 1F, but our current situation requires that we take some more stringent measures to discourage the importation of goods that we can and do produce here. To this end, we will review the standards required for imports into the country. We will prioritize the imports, as well as review the management of our foreign exchange reserves in relation to imports of products such as rice, poultry, vegetable oil, toothpicks, pasta, fruit juice, bottled water, and ceramic tiles, and others, which with intensified government support and that of the banking sector can be manufactured and produced in sufficient quantities in Ghana. Government will in May 2023, that is 6 months from now, review the situation. We must, as a matter of urgent national security, reduce our dependence on imported goods and enhance our self-reliance as demanded by our overarching goal of creating a Ghana beyond aid.
Joining me on phone is Samson Asaki Gov't, Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, for a conversation. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Gov't. The argument has always been that we are over-reliant on imports, and this is taking a toll on our economy. As players in the space, how do you receive the President's announcement?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners. Quite clearly, we have no problem. I think the President's statement is ambitious, a very ambitious statement. We cannot say that we will stand against the President's word. However, we can only add our words or add an advice. Of course, as they say that two people, knowledge is not in only one person's mind. We strongly believe that I was expecting to hear what other mechanism put in place. And so from now to May next year, when they will review our importation policy to cut down some excessive importation, as he's saying, what is the alternative? Do we have what quantities do we have? I'm talking about having data to show. If it's about rice, I know we bring rice over 700 to 800,000 metric tons per year, and it's all consumed in Ghana here. Now, Ghanaian rice farmers are there. What is the current status quo? What is the current status of rice availability? Are we producing up to 500,000 metric tons? If yes, there's no need for importers to bring in 800,000 metric tons. They can only bring the 3,000 metric tons. Is that not it? Mm-hmm. And so we have to look at the 300,000 metric tons story. Yep. So we have to look at the figures. Can you hear me?
Of course, I can hear you. You can go ahead.
So we have to look at the figures. If it's about poultry, I did not see the President saying, okay, those who bring in their old chicken from Holland, from UK, and others to feed to our local poultry farmers. From now, we know how much they are paying as duty. So from now, the government has taken the decision that the old chicken import to feed our poultry industry will no longer attract duty, so it's going to be free. So when they bring a supply to the poultry industry, I did not see the President saying that poultry farmers have been crying about the cost of feed. So for now, government is doing ABCD to make feed subsidy or to make feed available low cost to the to poultry producers. And so we need to know the statistics, we need to know the volume that we have, because you and I are very much aware that we saw or we heard poultry producers crying all over the country, saying that government is not paying so much attention on them. Yes. And so many of them have themselves settled there where they can produce millions of poultry fowls in their poultry farms, yet they cannot, because they cannot produce up to their capacity, because they have no capacity in feeding, because the cost of feeding, cost of borrowing in this country. And so we don't need to talk. We need to give us that it is about a poultry where the government has taken to. So I strongly believe that this cannot be set for only within 5 months. We cannot. So the danger and the fear for me is that currently there is food available, but Ghanaians are crying that the prices is high. It is better that there is food available. That if you go in Slack and get some small money, you can go and buy your food.
Now, Mr. Wingobet, you have mentioned a number of things you would have loved to hear, but do you think this could be the panacea, what Mr. President mentioned, to these challenges?
Why not? I speak for import and export. And so if there's so much for reliance for we to eat, to feed ourselves, and there's surplus, we can also export to bring in the proceeds to come and show up to our current currency. But I'm saying, this cannot be a short-term measure. You need it to plan medium to long-term. It cannot be from now to May. Because already farmers, we know Ghanaian farmers. This 2020, 2021, we saw what government did to farmers. Government subsidized fertilizer for them. 2022, we saw how all over the country, farmers are crying. Poultry producers are crying. What is it like? Cost of buying maize to feed their fowls? They can't afford it. And so farmers are crying that they cannot afford to buy fertilizer. And so the government, if you truly want to take us off from tomatoes importers, take us off from frozen food importers, take us off from rice importers, to cushion our city depreciation, I strongly believe that we need to plan now. It is not about short-term measures. Short-term measures, we rather want to put more pressure on the stress that Ghanaians are already going through. Indeed, why? I said, AGI will go and say, oh, give us the opportunity. This one, I was talking to AGI, chief executive on another sister station in Accra. He made it clear that, well, they can produce, but they can't get produce at the go. Right. Already, they were complaining about cost of borrowing. That is how overpaid is something flat. Doesn't take interest. You go to Ivory Coast, they are borrowing at 10%. You go to South Africa, they are borrowing at 6%. And you go to China, they are borrowing at 3% and 0%. In Ghana, at what rate? Utility tariff is killing industries in this country. So for me, I strongly believe that governments should make a conscious effort to say, look, right now, we want to see, and as we speak, assuming by May next year, government takes a decision. We have buffer stock that is lying there empty without food, being stocked by government. So if you take such a drastic decision, and the importers say, okay, I will no longer bring it to Ghana, because we don't know that decision, they are going to increase the duty already. We are paying the higher duty so far as Sub-Sahara is concerned.
Mr. Wingobet, we very much appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Samson Asaki Awingobet, Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana.